Good morning, fam. CJ Nelson here. We're up here at Modern Beach Supply in Carlsbad. I'm gonna run through the Apex today. One of my favorite boards of all time. I think I'm gonna go with this color. It's kind of like that patina, tan, sunburn, like that's what I was going for anyway. This is pretty much my favorite color of all the boards I make. As you can see, this board's a little bit different than my Sprout and some of the other boards that I'm so in love with. The main difference is this is a true kind of involvement style log, wide point back a little bit. Comparatively to the Sprout or the Neoclassic or the Parallax or something like that, this board has a really cool pivot point for turning. With this wide point back, that kind of gets in between your turning stance, and it just allows you to like really whip turns and pivot quick, which helps get this board shoved into the pocket for the nose riding that this board's capable of. So it's a serious go-to for me. A couple things that I do differently than most people. I'm seeing a few more people do it now. Bang's doing it. A couple other brands are starting to do it. But that is to put a sneaky sort of little edge in the tail. The edge in the tail, it's kind of like putting power steering in a car. It just bites from the tail and kind of just takes a little bit of the ceiling off of a traditional longboard. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's like super traditional, but it's not like a mega performance board. It's kind of a medium blend, which I feel like is my sweet spot for longboard surfing. So yeah, has a little edge in the tail, a pretty extreme amount of tail kick. When I add edge in the tail, it makes the board substantially faster when you're turning. So I like to add a lot of tail kick, so it does slow it down for nose riding. So you'll notice a lot of the boards that I ride have edge, but a lot of tail flip. And there's a fine line and a balance there. It's taken me and Ryan a long time to get that right, but we got it right. And yeah, works incredibly well. Another thing that we do with almost all of the longboards I ride, they all have like a real slight step deck and a real slight step tail. So there's kind of a mid-board hump. And for me, that kind of helps set my rhythm. So I always come to center for trim. I step back to turn, step forward to nose ride. But having that little hump in the center seems to really help my flow and just my rhythm. And me and Ryan call it like low pro. That's sort of what we nicknamed it. You know, if you're a real log kind of person, you can understand this board. But if you've come off of a short board or an egg, there's not going to be a learning curve. You're going to be able to wheel this thing around really good. And for me, it's kind of been one of my goals to make my boards work super duper good for me and kind of allow me to keep progressing, but also be super understandable to like a dude who's just getting into longboarding. So this type of rail, that type of edge, fin placement, the attributes that a board like this has, I feel like it's just as user-friendly as it gets. And for me, I can surf, you know, kind of do my best work on it. So let's talk about the bottom. As you can see, this 911 has a super deep, sort of Nueva style concave. It's about 44 inches. Blended, helps the board lift, causes it to slow down a little bit. Then it just goes flat to a little bit of roll to flat again, right around the fin box. This kind of concept with all these little attributes, you can find that kind of almost in every longboard I ride. So all the longboards sort of feel like cousins of each other and just kind of ties my brand together. So it's really easy to transition from a Sprout to an Apex to a Neoclassic to a Parallax. It's all pretty easy and understandable. Okay, let's pick out a fin. I'm a mega fan of this board with the Flying Diamonds involvement fin. I kind of go back and forth from the Powerflex to the involvement, but I actually made this fin for this board. 6.5 from the tails right there. You can see 6.5. So I'm gonna put a mark on that. The reason I reference 6.5 is because I was told that that's where The fin was tacked on to Magic Sam. I feel like Nat Young can't be wrong. There we go.